So I know for some of us, we are still stuck at home. And even for those of us who are not fully stuck at home, we might still be trying to stay home more. And if you have small kids, that means entertaining your kids and trying to find stuff to do so you don't lose your mind. Welcome back to In Her Rubber Boots. My name is Katrina, and today I am doing a very exciting collaboration. A group of us ladies decided that we would come up with a bunch of fun educational activities to do with your small kids, toddler, even baby age kids. So there will be a playlist linked below, and everyone is doing 5 different activities with their kids. So just to give you kind of an idea, I have 2 boys. I live in Canada. We live on a dairy farm. My oldest boy is almost 3 years old, and my youngest is 11 months. First activity I want to share with you is colorful spaghetti. Now for this activity, I just boiled up a package of regular noodles. If you're wanting to have your child cut the noodles later, it is nicer if they're like spaghetti or linguine or something like that. If you're just having them play with it as more of a sensory experience, then really any kind of pasta will work. So all I did was boil it as instructed. I then split it up into 4 separate bags, and in each bag I put in a little bit of olive oil and some food coloring. Now I didn't go too crazy with the food coloring, part of the reason for that being that I didn't want to end up with kids with stained hands. I also had a feeling that my baby, who's 10 months old, would probably want to eat some of it while he was playing with it, and I didn't want huge amounts of food coloring in it. So it's really up to you whether you even put food coloring in it. I thought it was maybe just a little bit more fun having different color noodles to play with. I also let Levi mix up the noodles and food coloring in the Ziploc bag. He also found that to be quite fun, so you definitely could include that as sort of part of doing the activity. Now, my almost 3-year-old thought that this was super, super fun. Are you cooking? How's it going, Henry? Are you having some good sensory play? You look like you're eating them. This is the other reason I didn't want to put a ton of dye on them. I gave him some that pretty much didn't have any dye. He wasn't super into cutting it, which was one of the things that I sort of thought he would like doing. He really just wanted to move it from one bowl to the other, play with it as if, he was playing in a kitchen and making food, or later, it became something with tractors because he lives on a farm and pretty much anything he plays ends in farming related somehow. The next one is an ice block that you break with hammer or something of that sort to get to the treasures inside of it. Now, if you are going to give your kids something to break it with that's not super intense, like, a play hammer or something, you could put objects inside that you don't have to worry about getting broken. I knew that my almost 3-year-old was going to want to use a real hammer because when my dad comes, he uses real tools all the time, and I'm okay with that. I obviously was supervising, so I didn't want to have a bunch of cool toys and stuff inside of it that were going to end up broken when they got smashed by the hammer. So all that to say, we went on kind of a scavenger hunt. I got him to bring along a pail, and we found rocks and sticks and leaves and dandelions.
A dandelion.
Yeah, what's it called?
Dandelion.
We just kind of filled it up with all sort of fun scavenger kind of items, which he really enjoyed. So that is another way that you could do this because it kind of makes it a 2-part activity that they're involved with, and they really love it. So once I had all of that, then I did a thin layer of water in a container. I put some of those things in it and froze it, and then I added another layer and did the same thing, and I did that about 3 or 4 times. Now, the reason I did this was just so that those objects would be through the ice and not just like floating on the top or sinking on the bottom and having nothing in the middle. Now, like I said, if you're not going to be using a real hammer, you could customize this. You could make it rainbow themed. You could make it dinosaur themed. Whatever you kind of have in the house, you could, do under the sea creatures, whatever you've got that's waterproof and could be frozen. You could customize this however you wanted.
Fold it.
Wow.
I pull this pink like that.
Now this next activity is perfect for outside in hot weather with pretty much no mess, and that is painting with water. This is such an easy thing to do. It really is sometimes just one of those things that someone just needs to point it out and you think, why didn't I think of that? All right, so we got a small paint tray here. We got a little roller, a paintbrush. This is the real deal, guys. And water. Are you gonna do some painting? The handle's broke. That's okay. Are you going to do some painting? Yeah. All right. What are you going to paint? Maybe the picnic table? Now, if you have a wooden fence, I think that is the ideal place to paint. We, however, don't have a wooden fence. And you know what? That's okay, because I would rather come on here and tell you other ways that you can do it than the ideal way, because not everyone else has a wooden fence or the ideal way of doing these things. So for us, we have a wooden picnic table, we have wooden chicken coops, we've got wooden rabbit hutches, and so Levi just went around and painted all of those things. He thought it was super fun. He also ended up getting it kind of muddy, and so it kind of ended up becoming this muddy, soupy paint, kind of painting mud on things, which again is fine. So it's however you want to do it, but definitely a mess-free fun activity. Now this next one is a sensory bin. You've probably seen these before. They're all over the place. Really, I'm just encouraging you to use what you have in the house and make one yourself. All you need is a container and really just some dried goods works. So we used things like rice, corn. Now we have dried corn because of the animals, but you can use dried beans and peas, lentils, any of that sort of thing. Keep in mind you're probably going to waste that stuff, so if you have things that are going off or just not being used up, this is probably a good way to use it. Fun side story, maybe not fun, but my husband's phone broke, and so we had his phone sitting in a bunch of rice. That rice wasn't going to be used again, so I figured what better way to use the rice than to put the rice in his sensory bin. Now we made his sensory bin tractor related because that is his biggest interest. However, you don't have to make it tractor related. You could have little animals that could be going to the beach. You could play it with cars. You could play it with kitchen stuff and pretend that you're cooking. Pretend it was a garden. There's plenty of ways that you could do this. But it's just a great way to let your kids get a little messy, but without really getting sticky or dirty. All right, so maybe you've watched all of those and you're like, all of those are a little too messy for me, too much cleanup, too much prep. This last one is very easy, and that is a sticky wall. Really, all you're doing is just putting tape against either a wall or a board, somewhere that it's going to be, firm and it will stay. You're just putting the tape sticky side out and then giving them things that they can put on it. Now you could cut up pieces of paper and have them put, maybe numbers or colors or whatever on it if you're trying to kind of make it educational. You could do like cotton balls, or you could do pipe cleaners. You could do small toys. You could do foam items. I mean, really, it's totally up to you. Also, you could just let your kids experiment and see what works. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below, what are you doing to keep your kids entertained, keep yourself sane? I would love to know, because here in Canada, we are in a very full-on lockdown, stay-at-home order, and it's going to be going on still for a while. And so I've been home with my boys for pretty much the past 13 months, almost 14 months, and so I need ideas of things to do. So let me know in the comments below if you've got ideas. And don't forget to go watch the other ladies for all of their awesome ideas, so that when you leave this playlist, you will have so many ideas of things to do with your kids. And lastly, if you have not subscribed to my channel, it is totally free. I would love to have you here. There is lots more content like this coming out, as well as lots of farm-style vlogs living here on a dairy farm. And we're also headed into the best season, the warm season. So there will be lots of gardening and lots of baby animals, so make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!